Welcome to the Sheepless Life podcast. We are your hosts, Ivonne Delaflor
and Séverine Naessens, and we are the founders of the Sheepless Life Academy. Join us at sheeplesslife.com for a free and exclusive masterclass on sheepless living.
We created this podcast for women like you, who are ready and eager to live and lead without the herd mentality.
Women who are ready to be, not who your parents told you to be.
Not who the system expects you to be.
Not who the media wants you to be.
But who you can truly become.
So relax, step out of the herd for a moment,
grab something to sip on, and have a pencil at hand just in case you feel the urge to take some notes.
Let's get the show on the road.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you are tuning into this podcast number 36 of the Sheepless Life Academy with your hosts, Séverine Naessens. On this side of the lines and the other side on the microphones, we have the amazing Yvonne Delaflor. And today we are going to speak about a topic that is dear to both of us, and it's homeschooling. Yvonne, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon and good now to everyone here tuning in. It's a great topic today, especially more than that is close to our hearts. Especially we want to bring a little bit more awareness for all the doubts that people may have about the homeschooling process. And we'll see, this is a topic that Séverine wanted to talk about. So I'm going to chime in since I've been homeschooling 3 kids now for almost more than 15 years. So with that said, Bebe, you begin.
Yes, well, the reason why I wanted to speak about homeschooling is that I'm fairly new to homeschooling. I've been homeschooling my daughter for, this is our second school year, if you wish. And you, Yvonne, have been a great inspiration and an influence for me to make the decision to step out of the traditional schooling system, to step away from a herd mentality within the schools. And it goes very much with our sheepless mentality, if you wish, as sheepless women, as independent women, as women who are working constantly on who we are and improving our being, our isness, as you call it. Homeschooling became, for me, an event that was somehow necessary to move forward. The reason why I stepped out of the system is that my daughter was having a very hard time adjusting to the school system, and we did have a couple opportunities. We switched schools twice. And it just didn't work for her. And now that we have made the transition into homeschooling, she is doing a lot better. She is actually thriving. She has become a lot more self-confident. She has integrated her personal power into her day-to-day activities. And I wanted to bring this topic forward because, as you said in the beginning, Yvonne, many people have asked me why, and also have asked me if there's a couple of questions that come back, and I want to go over those in a little while. But first of all, I would like to ask you, Yvonne, why you made the decision to step into homeschooling your 3 children.
Well, homeschooling was the best option for me. That I was traveling. We were moving from country to country, and it was not a foreign thing for me to speak about homeschool. First, I've been raised. I was raised by a father of a mother that promoted more be happy than what are your grades. Mm-hmm. So naturally, through the school system years for me, I had no issue at school. Honestly, I loved going to school. Obviously, I'm not remembering the times I didn't like it. Probably there were times I didn't like it. But I loved college. I loved assisting. I loved hanging out with people. I loved it. I did not really have any trauma or suffering from the school system, and I'm not against the school system. But moving a lot and traveling a lot and then one of our children having had been diagnosed with autism. The most natural and intuitive thing for me was the homeschool. And also, we moved to Cancun, where schools were pretty new at the time that I was living there many years ago. Now I'm sure there's places that are good too, but it was a personal choice. It just felt right. Intuitively, it felt right. And both the father of my kids and myself, we really didn't like our kids to be in the school system. Not because we were against it, but because we knew they could reach a higher potential of them through more personalized education. And when I decided to step into that my kids didn't have, people think that their homeschool, a lot of people, not all of the people, may think that homeschool is like, who's going to do it? No, they are not going to do anything. My kids had more strict systems being homeschooled than in a system. We had very quick, I'm going to put it in a brief summary so you can share your experience with others, but we had so many tutors, mentors, very fixed schedules, social skills, which is a fear of parents when they're trying to shift to from a school system tradition to a homeschool system. The schedules for lunch, for breaks. We had psychologists of education. I had to educate the teachers too about the system worked differently. And so I really stepped into because intuitively it felt good. My kids were really, they had, like all children, I think, they have areas of strengths that in the school system they would have been avoided, not because the school doesn't want to support the kids, but because they don't have the time. They are so busy with homework. A lot of schools, not all of them. There's great schools now. There's great initiatives now. I know one of my friends, Kia Sher, was working in a great school in Mexico City. I believe it was called Mandala. I'm not remembering well. But it really felt good. It felt that the needs of my children were met better for that, especially with my son with autism. And they used to be in a school in Montecito, California, in an incredible public school. But once we moved out of there were not the same services, there was not the same support, and the parent involvement was not as high. And I really like to be involved. I really like to be involved in all when it comes to education of myself, of my children, and of the people I serve. So it was not congruent for me not to do that. And their parents agree, the fathers agree. So because I was married twice. And so that makes it easier. Yes. And that was it. So I know I said a lot, but I wanted to summarize so you can share and ask and share also your challenges with people. I'm sure and I hope that a lot of mothers or people out there wanting to put their kids on homeschool or that have fears on their school system or something, send us questions, because I can tell you something. One of the things that homeschool did for me,
Yvonne? No, Yvonne?
Hello?
Yes, I just lost you for a second. Could you please pick up the one thing that homeschool did for you?
Yes, the homeschool, one thing that it did was to strengthen the power of my voice as a parent, of my no's and my yeses. A lot of parents, homeschool or not homeschool, are so afraid to speak up with the teachers, or parents that are remarried with their new spouses. They're so afraid because they are basing their opinion and they have all their intuition knowing what to do, speak up for their children, take them out of school, take them out of a very poor relationship that could be harming them. But a lot of people and parents, mothers and fathers, they don't speak up because of what the others will think of them. So homeschool gave me the strength to know exactly what my kids need, even more. And I'm not a perfect mother. I'm far away from that. Homeschool is for the parents, not for the children, by the way, just FYI. But homeschool gave me that strength to speak up for my kids and really cater education for the future of my children, not for what I thought they needed to do, who they needed to become, or what society expected them to be. So it's a great experience. So I really urge you to speak up. Anybody hearing this, send us questions. If I can be of any service to answer those questions over, it's going to be almost 20 years of experience now, especially of ups and downs and all of that. But I will be very happy to answer those questions.
Thank you. And as I was looking into starting homeschool with you, Nadi, you were a very abundant source of information for me, because for many of us, it's an unknown realm. We hear about homeschool and we kind of have an idea about homeschool, but really homeschooling, even if you have your children within a school, homeschool is 24/7. It's something that you constantly do with your children, because we, as parents, we teach them about life, we teach them about household chores, we teach them about cooking, we teach them about gardening, we teach them many, many things which are not considered homeschool. But as you do homeschool, you really tap into that. Everything you can teach a child is part of that homeschool experience. It's not all about math and English or Spanish or science. There's a lot more to homeschooling a child than just the curriculum that a regular school system prescribes. And we do have our children go through math and science and English and Spanish and many other topics, history. At this moment, we're studying Mexican history, for example. So it's very, very broadening. And as you said just now, it is also an experience for the parents. For us as a parent, it takes a lot of involvement. It is where, if you choose to homeschool your children, you do have to be present. You do have to be aware that you will put more time into their education, but at the same time, you're giving your children more quality time of being really present with them and really going through the process of learning with them. And the important thing also, and that I learned from you, Ivonne, is to have tutors. We may not all be able to afford different tutors at a time, but it is important. For example, I have a math tutor for my daughter. He's a professor at the university, but he's really, really good with kids, and he's teaching her math in a way that she understands it really easily, and she is just going through this with flying colors. And I'm enjoying the fact that she is enjoying learning things. She's actually not struggling. We do have moments where she's fed up and she doesn't want to, and I mean, that is normal. It is normal if you go through a day-to-day learning experience, and that you have, because if you go through homeschool, you also have a curriculum to complete, which you as a parent put in there, but you can also be supported by online schooling systems. You can go to open systems. For example, here in Mexico, there's the Education for Adults system, which provides us with all the books that we need to go through for her to get a certificate of basic education. She is actually in 6th grade right now. So that would be middle school in the States. So going through, tapping into whatever system is available to get your children a certificate of education is important as well, because you don't know if they will go on to college or not. And if they do choose to go on to college and get a higher education at a university, at a college, you do want to have all the paperwork straightened out, but not necessarily going through the school system as is. Every single country has its different systems available for you to go through and have the kids present the exams necessary to obtain the necessary legal paperwork. Also, there's also countries, for example, in Europe and in the States, it is obligatory for children to be enrolled in one or in a school system or another, so that you have the legal stuff has to be taken care of as well. That's something that we as parents need to make sure we take care of for our kids. Because if you do move around the world, and we have been traveling a lot too, and it's a lot of fun to be able to travel, and you bring the books along, and they can go online and do stuff. There's plenty of websites you can use to provide for extra information. YouTube, for example, is a great source of many videos where we do a lot of learning. So there's plenty available, but it is important to be informed. And as I said earlier on, Ivonne, you for me were a great source of information so that we could get started. And it was tough. At the beginning, we struggled. We struggled quite hard, honestly. But we made it through. We made it through that transition, because it is a transition in the end. And especially the one that was having more trouble with it was me. It was not my daughter. It was me as a mom trying to figure out where my position was as a mom, and then becoming a homeschooling mom. There's a lot of stuff that I was confused about, but I figured it out in the end. And one of the questions that I get oftentimes is how do you keep your child social? Because she's an only child, so it's just her and me here at home with the tutors that come in and out. But how do we take care of that her social skills, her social abilities? And honestly, I must say that she has become a lot better at being around other kids than she was at school, because she let go of the fear of being with others, with peers. She has been able to build up her self-confidence a lot more by taking some time off of being surrounded by peers. And that, in this case, with my daughter, is what has worked well for her. And she integrates perfectly well with other kids. They play well. We do visit families with other children around us as much as we can, so that she does get that interaction with other children. Is there?
Well, that's right. I wouldn't say anything else. I would just say for the people, because I know we just did a lot of information. But the first thing, if you're considering to move your child out of a school system into homeschool, make sure to know that if you change your mind, you can always change it.
Yes.
Kids are resilient. They are strong. You got to do it in a way that is the most relaxed also for you. Number 2, don't expect to do it alone. Don't expect to do it alone. If you don't have money to hire mentors and tutors, I was able, thanks to the support of the father of my children. But if you don't, there's a lot of associations and things that offer free arts and crafts classes, free music lessons.
Yes.
This is the concept of the village. The village was supposed, like before, when humanity, there were no school system, the village will raise your child. And so you will find a group of people that have certain skills. A father may be really good at math. Another one of your friends will be good at art. So you can actually invite a group of your own peers to create a homeschool system with you for all of your children. Social skills, the number one fear of homeschool is really, again, like in the Shipless Life, what people are going to think of you.
Yes.
And because the fear of, oh my gosh, my child is going to be left out and he's not going to socialize, where does it come from? Ask yourself, where is that coming from? It's coming from someone told you your kid is going to be paralyzed for life emotionally if you don't take them to school. If you don't take them to this church, if you don't take them to this thing, if you don't take them to that, that's the projection.
Yes. These are indeed the projections that other people have, and that is something that we have to step beyond, so that we leave aside what others think, what others will think, and make that decision. If you feel in your heart this is the right choice, then go with it. And homeschool is not for everyone. I mean, for me, it works. For you, obviously, it works. And I've had friends that have taken their kids out of school, did homeschool for a year. It didn't work. They went back to school and everybody was perfectly happy. And these kids are in college right now and they're thriving. So it's not an obligation to keep them in the system. It's not an obligation to take them out. It's just what feels right for you and for your children, and what you can do as a parent to help your children thrive and potentialize their skills.
Exactly. So I think I know we have like a kind of a weak connection right now, internet-wise. I'm in Vegas, you're in Cancun. But I think, this is a topic of conversation that we will open this year. All of our podcasts will be based, as Séverine and I spoke in a private meeting, on like weekly basis themes. I think we can announce that since February, right? But will be like the week of parenting and education, so that people that listen to this podcast can send you our questions. We'll have the business week, we'll have the relationships week. And in anything about parenting, we can talk about co-parenting, for example.
Yes.
But for homeschool, feel it, be prepared. Don't jump into homeschool without preparation. Investigate resources, investigate what you can do, give it your best, and know that even if your kids are on the street or in homes or in school, they are being homeschooled. Whatever you model in the house is the biggest education that your children will get for the rest of your life. Absolutely. So be very mindful. What are the subjects you are already teaching? Maybe you are teaching worrying about them not being in school. Maybe you are teaching them how to stay quiet while your husband and you yell, or while your woman leaves. Or maybe you are teaching them harmony in the house, or how to resolve conflict. Those are skills for life. That's what homeschool is. So make sure to choose what feels right to you, but be prepared if you are going to homeschool.
Oh, yes. Well, we'll leave that for this week, and feel free to drop in a question. You can also send us a direct message on Instagram or on Facebook, or send us an email to support@sheeplesslife.com. And we're more than happy to integrate all the topics that you want to hear about in our next podcasts over every single Wednesday. Every week we have one topic, so we've got plenty of weeks to go this year. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll hear you next week.
Subscribe to this weekly podcast on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher. Share your thoughts with us on Facebook.com/Sheepless Life Academy and learn firsthand how to live a sheepless life with Ivonne and receive an exclusive in-depth masterclass at sheeplesslife.com.